Uncle Bildy signing in. Let's talk about wallpaper. Really, wallpaper. Sounds like a real interesting subject, right? That's some pretty nice wallpaper right there. It's got a nice texture to it. This is my hotel room. I just noticed the wallpaper. You know, they didn't have to do that. It's pretty nice. Pretty good workmanship. It's quality material. You don't see that very much in the U.S. except in really, really high-end hotels. This is very inexpensive. It's very nice for the price. It's only about $40 a night. I'm only staying here two nights. Then I have to go visit somebody and then go back home to Sevastopol. But the reason I want to talk about wallpaper is I've seen some pretty strange stuff with wallpaper. Really. Back in the early 90s, I'm going to put this on this tripod here. This might be a disaster, but I'm going to do it. Yay! Oh no! I'm very terrible with tech. Ah, here we go. It seems to have worked. Okay, now you can look down at me. Hey, back in the 90s, I bought an old farmhouse. It's out in the middle of nowhere. Bought it real cheap. I think I gave like $2,500 for it. Might not even been that much. But it had been empty for a long time. I started getting ready to redo it. It had yellow wallpaper with like green and purple mushrooms printed on it. Why would anybody even make that? It was so ugly and stupid. But anyway, I tore that off. It was loose. It's coming off anyway. I just tore it all off. And then there's layer after layer after layer. Went back to look like the 50s. Some nice pastel stuff that wasn't too bad, but it was ugly. Then I got down to the original wallpaper. This house is a Sears house. It was made in 1905. Somewhere around there. I'm pretty sure it was 1905. It was the wallpaper made this stuff look like crap. It was gorgeous. It was absolutely beautiful. Still was underneath all the crap. Of course, it had been protected from sunlight and everything down there, but it looked like new. It was a silvery background with ornaments like that, kind of, what is that? Not really a fleur. It's these curly things, and they were in rose color, and they had very fine red outlines, and they were still bright red, very fine bright red, like pinstriping and stuff in the background. It was, I wish I had a picture of it, but this is back in the early 90s. You didn't carry cameras around and take pictures of everything back then, but it was freaking beautiful. And I tore a lot. I tore down to it a lot, and it didn't seem like there was anything wrong with it. Somebody just started covering up with stuff that they thought was better. But, and I helped my cousin tear down a house in town. It was much older, but it had been remodeled in the 30s, and it still had the original 1930s kitchen in it. Everything matched. It was steel panels, or tin if you would. It was steel, stamped steel, over wood. It's like Model T technology. They stretched tin over the wood, but it was perfect. All the doors and drawers all worked beautifully. You open a drawer and close it. It's like opening and closing the door on a Rolls Royce. It was just so satisfying. It was so perfect. And this stuff was, 60 years old back then. It still worked perfect. It was beautiful. The finish was beautiful. White enamel. It had stainless steel fittings. Lots of, looked like chrome, but I think it might have been nickel. It was nickel or stainless. Art Deco. And everything worked perfect. It was in an average house. It's not rich people. This is the stuff that they made 50, 60, 80, 100 years ago. Especially, 80 and 100 and 110 years ago. Quality stuff built to last generations. And apparently it's modestly priced because these were not in rich people's houses. I've seen a lot of that down through the years. I have a place that I remodeled it in 2008 or 9, I think it was. redid everything. My wife managed the contractors and kept an eye on them, made sure everything's done properly. And it's all European style stuff, the way they do things here. I've had to change all the drawer sliders and all the hinges and all the gas shocks on everything in the kitchen. The drawer adjustable door hinges and latches on all the cabinetry everywhere in the house and the closets. I've replaced it 3 or 4 times so far. The stuff that they make is so fragile and dainty. It's made out of some sort of Chinesium alloy that's like thin as typing paper, or plastic that is formulated to get brittle in a couple of years after it's made and start disintegrating. Everything's made like that now. Nothing lasts more than a few years. Russians and I think most Europeans apparently remodel their apartment every 5 or 6 years because nothing's made to last longer than that. I think that's awful. They had the technology to make things affordable that would last for generations 80 years ago, but they don't have it now because we got all this high-tech stuff and it's so much better. We have these smoothly run corporations with all these bureaucrats and all these middlemen and all these, it's ran for maximum profit, and that's what you get. And, like Ben Shapiro says, capitalism is good and it works better than communism. All the old stuff here in Russia, the stuff made in the early days of the communist period, it was pretty high quality stuff, especially like the cars with little maintenance. They last generations. They're anti-fragile. They're tough. They're durable. They're industrial. They don't make things like that anywhere except for the military. In the West especially, they don't even make it for the military anymore. Everything the military's got is a fragile, complicated system with lots of plastic and Chinesium. It's not sustainable, but it's profitable. But it doesn't matter now because they're bleeding everybody for everything they can. If you're not at their table, they're taken from you. You can't make anything permanent where you can just relax and enjoy your stuff and be productive and save. You're just bleeding money all over the place, replacing stuff and redoing stuff. And soon they're going to be selling you subscriptions. It's all going to be a new economy based on behavior rather than currency. Or the currency will be behavior. It will be based on value. Certainly not gold or even fiat currency. It's going to be behavioral currency. That's what the Great Reset is, in case you haven't really read Klaus's book or listen to the Davos crowd and see what they have planned for us. These are the people profiting from all this, and they want to rearrange the world to make it more sustainable and green. Well, that's sustainable and green what they're doing, right? They've been managing the world for quite a while. They've captured all the regulatory all the regulatory agencies and the governments, and they've pretty much been doing what they want. And if things are headed toward a cliff, it's because of them. And I don't think that they should be enfranchised to change things to their liking. Need to develop a counter to it, and I just don't see one anywhere. Are you with me? Things need to be community-based and craftsman-based. Craftsman could build you something that'll last for generations. You'll probably have to pay a little more for it, and it won't be convenient. You won't be able to order it from Amazon. But it'd be a better way of doing things. You won't end up enslaving yourself and your children eventually. So that's what it's going to. You'll own nothing and be happy. It'll be convenient. You won't even have to think. You really want to go there? That won't matter. They'll engineer you. That's what they're doing. They're coming to the point where they're going to change you, where you fit. You'll be a servo. You'll get some sort of medically induced or chemical lobotomy. Well, you've been doing it for years anyway. The food you eat, there's no minerals in it anymore for your synapses to fire off. If you buy your food at Walmart, you got stuff that's grown in depleted soil and or growth medium with chemicals, and it doesn't have the minerals that it used to have. I'll make that a different subject. We'll do a different video on that. Anyway, things can be better. we can build things that last generations. We have the technology. It's not being used. The technology is used 100% to extract your money from you, the maximum amount that they can, and keep you busy with little stuff so you can't organize or you can't think about things too much. And you fill your head with media all the time. What are you thinking? Just some things to ponder. I'm not being judgy or anything, but I've been seeing this stuff from the inside. I'm not an economic hitman or a big corporate bigwig manager or anything. I saw it from inside the industries as an automation specialist in manufacturing. I know how corners are cut and how things are done. The efficiency isn't there for your benefit anymore. It's there to squeeze everything they can out of you. It has nothing to do with environmentalism. It has nothing to do with sustainability. We'll talk later. I want to keep these short enough where people have... nobody wants to watch a 2-hour video, unless you're, really bored. So we'll keep these short and sweet. I'll see you later. Uncle Bildy signing.